Gone. So supplements, they are everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you go to your local supermarket, it doesn't matter if you go online, shops like Holland and Barrett. They're a big thing. They're a big industry. And I have to say, when you go to a lot of these shops, a lot of the shelves are quite empty and there's a lot of people standing around them. So they are something that is extremely popular. I kind of wanted to go through the ones I've got at the moment and just kind of sort of say whether they work or not, because I think there's a lot of evidence out there that supports or says that these things can be harmful. But I think ultimately, you can look at as many studies as you like. You need to kind of go on how you feel and if you've noticed any differences. So I'm going to quickly show you the ones that we've currently got at home. Mum's currently using these, which are vitamin B12 tablets. B12's in quite a lot of food, so a lot of cereals are fortified with B12. Milk has it in. Things like Marmite's really high in B12. So this one says that B12 reduces tiredness and fatigue. So that's what that one's for. Now, sometimes over the winter months, I have one of these, which is a vitamin D tablet. You get vitamin D from the sun. The weather's lovely today, so I don't need this particularly. But again, this one sort of says vitamin D contributes to the maintenance of normal bones, muscles, and teeth, supports the normal function of the immune system. During COVID, everyone was saying that low vitamin D might have been a cause of respiratory sort of infection, so that's why I have them. Again, just a standard sort of nutrient that you'll all know about, magnesium. Apparently you lose a lot of magnesium when you exercise, and apparently it helps you sleep as well. But this stops like twitchy legs, and apparently in caffeine it depletes your magnesium levels, so that's why I take those ones. And then you have kind of these ones that they're not kind of things that you see in food so much, and they might have a certain health claim. There might be a new thing on the scene. So something I had for breakfast this morning, I had lion's mane mushroom, which is in a lot of products now, tea, coffee. Obviously you can have it as like gummies, like sweets with zinc. It looks like a lion's mane. That's why it's obviously called lion's mane mushroom. Korean ginseng, apparently it's the most bioactive or most studied, and it's had the most sort of health claims as well. Meant to be good for men. So there's that one. Co-enzyme Q10, which my dad used to say he used to use in dentistry, which apparently is good for healing. It just says it's good for energy as well. So that's why I have that one. But it has vitamin B1 in as well, which apparently helps heart function. And then these aren't so much supplements, but they're electrolyte tablets. So again, when you sweat, you lose a lot of salt. And these have sort of added B vitamins and magnesium again to rehydrate you essentially. So this is all the sort of supplements I have, and we'll kind of go through them all now and just have a little look at which ones work or which ones I think work and which ones I think maybe don't, and just have a general conclusion: are supplements worth it?
You know what, I've just got back from a run and I did 11 miles, and that's the best I've felt in absolutely ages, certainly since the ultra anyway. Another thing I had in my breakfast this morning was this big powder. So this is Gill's powder, and I suppose this is kind of a supplement as well, really. I'm not going to have any more for the minute because I don't need any more. I've already had plenty of sort of vitamins and minerals, but I kind of have this for the protein. I wasn't having enough protein at one point as well, and I was getting very tired and weak, essentially. I want to kind of bulk up, but essentially you get a scoop and a powder. This one's vanilla flavour, so it tastes really good as well. So I have one this afternoon. I was only having 15 grams of protein probably before, and I was so weak. And I probably need about 60 for my body weight, and now I'm sort of up to 80. So just trying to bulk up a little bit now. I've done all the running, but this stuff's really good. I find this really effective, particularly this in the bottles you get with them as well. You get the ready meal shakes as well, and these give me plenty of energy, but I don't really use them as a supplement in terms of the vitamins and minerals. There are plenty in here though, which I'll show you, but for me it's more about just, as I say, giving me that extra sugar, that extra energy. So very much important to me. But I am now going to have one of my magnesium tablets and a coffee, so I get a bit of caffeine down me to give me that energy for the gym. So there's plenty of vitamins and minerals and other bits in the sort of fuel powders that, beyond the sort of proteins, the 2 scoops is 20 grams of protein. But you've got things like vitamin A, vitamin D, E, K, C, a lot of the B vitamins there, and iodine. You've got omega-3, omega-6. So yeah, there's plenty in here as well that gives you an extra sort of nutrient boost. But yeah, really for me, this is all about the protein.
I love coffee. So if someone was to say to me, how would you define supplement? What is a supplement? What's a supplement to me? I'd probably say it's kind of a product or some sort of food item that essentially either sort of prevents deficiency, so if you're deficient in a vitamin or mineral, which some people are, or just gives you that extra sort of edge, whether that's in performance or, just feeling more alert, any of those sort of like little things that you might find where you have like slumps in the afternoon. So yeah, it's either really to give you that extra 5% or, as I said, prevent those sort of things that you might be deficient in. Because some people don't get enough in their diet. Most people in general probably don't realise they do really, but there's some people like older populations who might be sitting at home, who don't go out in the sunlight, who don't get enough vitamin D, and you get these really ultra strength ones as well. And I think that's really what it's for. Obviously, I'm personally looking at it for that extra sort of 5%, maybe an extra bit of aggression for the gym or, alertness in the afternoon, so I don't get those dips in the day. So that's how I use them anyway. And we're going to look at what the science says. I touched on it a little bit at the start with the ones I've got. I'm going to look at the science now, some stuff online just to see how it benefits athletes, because I must have bought these at the time, 100 days ago or so, essentially to help my sort of athletic performance for the ultra. So yeah, let's have a look and see what it says. If we look at lion's mane first and the sort of benefits, or the main sort of study benefits, kind of looks like it's mainly centered around sort of cognitive health, your focus and things like that. And did I feel more sort of focused and concentrated on my run this morning? Well, I suppose I felt great. As I said, I felt really good. I felt full of energy. But I don't know for sure if it's the lion's mane, do I? I mean, who's to say it wasn't the toffee I had, or the buttermint I had with my breakfast, or the protein powder, or even my Crave cereal with my porridge? It could be any of those things. But of course, what you then do, and what I tend to do as well, is you go, well, did it cause me any harm? Did I feel any worse for it? And you kind of go, no. And then you think, well, could it potentially be that's had the benefit? So, of course, then what happens is you keep sort of taking those things as well. So it's a really difficult one. I can kind of see it from both sides, really. I'm not 100% sure that these things have the potential benefit on its own, in its own right. But did it supplement, which is what it is, to support my run this morning? Well, maybe it did. And therefore, I'm going to keep having it. And apparently it aids recovery as well. And one thing I do think is I have got quite a decent recovery rate. So anyway, I'm going to keep having lion's mane. But let's have a look at the next one. So let's go Korean or Panax ginseng. So in terms of Korean ginseng or Panax ginseng, it looks like, again, mainly the research here is more focused on aerobic performance and alertness, keeping you more energized, which is why I bought it originally, because I was so low on energy. But essentially that was because I wasn't eating enough. Now, I've noticed on the days I don't have this, I don't feel as energized. Now, I haven't had it today, and I do feel energized. And it kind of goes back to what I was just really saying earlier. Is it the ginseng that's giving me this extra energy and extra boost? Or is it the fact that I've just started to eat a few more calories, more sugar, more protein, more fat, just in general? Because that's ultimately what's going to give you energy, food. But again, does it give me that extra edge? Well, from what I feel, yes, it does. But of course, I'm mentally thinking that. And also, of course, another factor you've got to consider is I've paid for it. And it's very easy when you've paid for things to think, well, yeah, that definitely works, because nobody wants to think they've wasted their money on something. So yes, I do find, in terms of, for me, it has given me a bit more energy on the days I have it. It does increase my alertness, and there's a link to apparently testosterone levels as well. Again, I don't know whether it does or it doesn't, but I said, when I've had it on days after dinners and stuff, I have felt more energized when going for a walk in the evening. So again, I'm going to keep having it, and yeah, I've 100 days, and it's not had any ill effects on me. So yeah, it'll still be on the list of things to have for the next 100 days at least. So coenzyme Q10. So apparently this improves your endurance, and it's apparently an antioxidant, which again helps clear free radicals, which have been linked to cancer and things like that as well. So it's kind of a healing supplement essentially. Now I've only been having this one for a few weeks. I haven't had this one for the sort of 100 days. Again, kind of like the other two, I haven't noticed any particular benefit of it, like a real change if I have it, but I certainly don't feel any worse for taking it. Again, I've had no sort of stomach pains or side effects. I don't feel more fatigued. It's probably one where, again, I kind of say, well, it's very hard to know if it's increased my endurance levels anyway, because I have a lot of endurance anyway, so has it given me the edge? Not sure about this one so far from my experience. Again, it's one of those things. What am I really looking for with it? Am I just telling myself these things are working? Is the science really, really there to back it up anyway? At the end of the day, though, again, I kind of go back to what I was just saying. I haven't noticed any sort of harmful impacts from it, and if the science is saying it helps and there's no sort of side effects from it, again, you sort of think, well, it's better having it than not. So magnesium. Now magnesium is one I'm really behind, because this is sort of things that you get in food, and obviously it's been very much linked to athletes in the past as stopping muscle spasms, muscle cramps. Apparently it kind of helps you sleep as well, because it's a bit of a, relaxing sort of supplement. So I do think magnesium is important. Now I suppose with magnesium you can get plenty, magnesium supplements are on all the shelves. Do I really need it? This is the question I ask myself. Yes, I do a high volume of exercise, so magnesium probably does get depleted from me. But I also eat very well. I have a very, broad diet. I love trying new foods. I love trying all sorts of things. And I know I eat plenty of things like fish and eggs, and even my fuels and whatever have magnesium in. So do I need that extra 100% a day? Probably not. Now, do I know if high doses is harmful or not? Probably not again. So I don't have them every day. But I kind of go back to everything I've been saying. I feel great at the minute. I feel really good, and that might be something to do with the fact that I'm eating more, as I said, and I wasn't eating enough. I was just eating fruit. So again, I think when you're always looking at these supplements or whatever, you shouldn't look at things in isolation. Ultimately, your health is going to be everything. It's not just going to be diet. It's not just going to be exercise. It's going to be stress, sleep, everything. Even the weather can affect your mood, or just things that come up. So yeah, that's just another thing. Again, the problem is you worry that if you take these things out, is it going to then put you back? So I might be interested to come off these and just see how I feel after. The last one is vitamin D. Now, of course, as you can probably tell on my face, the sun is out. You get a lot of vitamin D from the sun, which is D3. It's D2 and D3. The supplements I have are essentially 100% of D3. And yeah, essentially, it's good for bone health. So again, reducing fractures, as you would have just seen. The main reason I bought it, though, was I was getting a lot of sort of coughs and colds at one point. And in the winter, you don't get enough sunlight. And they think a lot of respiratory illnesses can be linked to a vitamin D deficiency. And during COVID, they were injecting a lot of patients in ICU wards with extremely high doses of vitamin D in the hope that it might, obviously, reduce the severity. But of course, prevention is better than cure. So I kind of have them in the winter months as well, or if I don't feel like I've had it, because vitamin D is very hard to get in food. You get it in egg yolks, fatty fish, and then fortified foods, essentially mushrooms. They sunbathe, so they get vitamin D from the sun as well. And then obviously we eat it. So yeah, I think it's an important one, but something to be careful of that one is it's a fat-soluble vitamin. So if you have high doses, which you can buy like 100 times the daily dose, and you can just have it in a tablet every day, you might have toxic levels in your system if you keep having it. And a lot of people don't really need it as much as they think they do. So again, I use it to sort of support my exercise, but again, not every day. And I would worry if I didn't have them now. I still want them, but yeah, they're not as essential as some of the other ones that I feel like I use now. So let's say you've watched this so far and you're thinking, I might try some of those things. They sound safe. They don't seem to have a detrimental effect. Just a few things to consider before you buy them. You'll see a lot of health claims, and I've been doing a little bit of research while sort of preparing for this video. Now, a lot of bottles and stuff, apparently it's proven, first of all, that they deliberately have like white and black sort of packaging, a lot of it, and just very bland packaging because it looks more scientific. So apparently more people are likely to buy these supplement bottles that are more expensive if it's not like bright colours and stuff, if it looks like a sort of lab bottle essentially, if that makes sense. So yeah, just be aware that just because something looks a bit more professional, it doesn't necessarily mean its claims are backed up. And a lot of the claims that you'll see are actually, they don't have to actually be proven. As long as the pill that's on the shelf essentially has been proven to be safe, so it's not going to harm you, it doesn't matter if the claim that it may promote heart health or may give you more energy is actually not 100% true. So as long as the drug itself or the supplement itself is safe, it's not going to kill you, it doesn't actually have to benefit you, and they can just say it gives you this or it could help this. So that's what still draws people in. The other thing just to be aware of is also the wording. So when they do put these claims on, say you see an advert for collagen. Collagen is one that people like to take because they think it might reduce the appearance of wrinkles and aging. What it might say is it reduces the appearance of wrinkles. Now that wording makes people think, it may reduce wrinkles. But actually, if you think about it, reducing the appearance of wrinkles is actually a very vague sort of thing to say. What that could mean is for a few hours that cream essentially makes the wrinkle go away because it's hydrated the skin and it's almost filled it in, so you look a bit younger and a bit more glowing. That doesn't mean it's a long-term benefit. Another thing as well, just to be aware of, is a lot of these supplements aren't actually scientifically studied in the way you may think. It tends to happen with a lot of these brands is they'll, give it to a few people and ask them, can you just review this for me and give your honest opinion? Now some people think, great, they'll be biased with it for a couple of reasons really. One, they might be biased because obviously they might be getting paid potentially, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, how these things work. But also, of course, if I'm given something, let's say a brand reaches out to me and says, can you try and review this item or this supplement for me and give your honest thoughts, whether that's a pair of shoes or a pill or whatever, naturally, subconsciously, I'm probably going to think, oh, this is great because they're giving me this for free. I might just have that naturally positive opinion of it because I've got it for free. And you might think, oh, I might get more of it. Or, as I said, you might generally just think it works as a placebo effect. So, yeah, just be aware of those things as well. Again, I'm back to it, but as long as you're aware of that, then I'm all for it. But as I said, don't be completely fooled by what bottles say. They don't have to be factual. The gym, nearly on 28,000 steps, and honestly, I feel absolutely great. So do I think that ultimately supplements are worth getting? Someone who uses them, someone who's going to keep using them, someone who's got a real interest in trying different things. To be honest, unless you really want to, probably just say no. At the end of the day, the most important thing is just doing those traditional, guaranteed things that improve your health, keeping fit, eating a proper, well-balanced diet. And ultimately supplements can't replace those things. If you're not sleeping properly or whatever, it doesn't matter what you take, you're still going to feel tired. If you're not eating properly, you're still going to feel hungry. These things are just there to kind of give you that extra support and just, as I said, give you that extra edge if you need it and reduce any deficiencies you might have. And to be honest with you, you've got to be a little bit careful, as I said, with some of those points to consider. you can have too many of these like doses of vitamin D's and stuff. So yeah, just follow the instructions. But other than that, as I said, a lot of the things they have to prove that they're safe to consume, and I've certainly not noticed any ill effects. I'm running well, I feel really good, but a lot of the facts on them may not necessarily be true. So just as I said, be aware that it may say it could help this, could and actually does. They're two very different things. But yeah, experiment with it, see what works for you. And ultimately, as I said, it's if you've got an interest in your fitness and your nutrition and your health in general, I think it's worth just giving it a try. And I'm going to keep sort of working through things. And yeah, as I said, it's a bit of a hobby of mine, really. A bit of a strange hobby, but as I said, I enjoy all of that. And as I said, I hope this has given you a few ideas for anyone that might be thinking, I'll try that. So yeah, that's kind of it for today, really. If you've made it this far, thank you, because I've spoken a lot. I've done a lot of talking and not much doing. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. Again, I hope it's given you a bit of an insight into supplements if you're interested. In terms of next week, I do another sort of fragrance fitness video. Do design sprays next week. So I've got 4 sort of summer ones, and I think they're really good value for money. So we'll do some more challenges around sort of fragrances as well in relation to fitness. And yeah, I want to kind of do a sort of day in the life of an athlete as well. So if there's any particular famous sports star that anyone would like me to kind of copy their day in terms of how they eat, how they exercise, how they dress, how they conduct themselves, put some sort of comments down below. I mean, I was thinking of something like Ronaldo, but yeah, maybe someone a bit more unique. It doesn't have to be a particularly good. It could be day in the life of a bodybuilder or a sumo wrestler. It could go so really extreme, if not. And yeah, I kind of also want to look at some sort of controversial fitness opinions, let's say, and give my input on them as well. So I might have some controversial ones myself, and yeah, we'll maybe give my input on that and make it a bit of a debate. So yeah, a few things planned next week. The weather's looking good as well, so yeah, definitely get out, maybe do some running videos as well. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one today, and I'll catch you later.